The Andamanese people may provide living proof that when modern humans spread across the world 100,000 years ago, they did not simply wipe out the earlier groups of humans, but might have bred with them. Once they had succeeded in extracting the DNA, the next stage was to build up charts, comparing Andamanese genetic codes with similar peoples.
DNA sequences by themselves are not terribly useful. You have to compare them with sequences from other parts of the world. So I was finding the biggest possible surface that I could find to put some of these sequences up on the wall. So we had African populations, Asian populations, also oceanic populations, New Guinea Highlanders, Polynesian people, people from mainland Asia. So we start building these big family trees of human sequences.
As she plotted the sequences against each other, a story of a unique people began to emerge.
The look of all these trees told us that the Andamanese belonged to one of the earliest groups to migrate out of Africa. That was our first impression, and we were quite excited. They fitted close to the Africans, and not too far away from the New Guinea Highlanders, who are also a very ancient population. Our results really confirmed the general idea that there was a big migration of people out of Africa, and that in parts of Asia today, we've got representatives of these early migrations, pre-Neolithic, pre-agricultural people. And the Andamanese are one of these people.
She could see that the Andaman Islanders not only looked like African pygmies, they were genetically very closely related to the Africans of today. But how long ago had they left Africa to settle in the islands? She realized that one way she could find out was from an analysis of their language. The Andaman languages are so totally different from any other that no outsiders have ever learned them. But Nicholas Burenholt has studied their linguistic roots. By tracing relationships with other languages and noting where changes occur, he can detect how distinctive the languages are and, almost precisely, how long they've been developing in isolation.
The Andamanese language family is totally separate, and as far as we know, it's not related to anything outside the Andaman Islands.
From their language, he could estimate how long the tribes had been cut off from other peoples.
If we look at grammatical patterns, the Andamanese languages are very different from the languages spoken in the Old World, in Africa and Eurasia. And this may suggest that they have been isolated for quite some time, and it is very possible that they indeed represent a linguistic relic of what Southeast Asia may have looked like, perhaps even as early as the time when the region was colonized by modern humans.
From Burenholt's evidence, Erica learned that the Andaman Islanders had been living in almost complete isolation for at least 40,000 years, perhaps even a great deal longer. Modern humans arrived in Asia 60 to 100,000 years ago. The islanders could be their direct descendants, Stone Age people, remnants of the time when modern humans first settled in Asia at the end of the last ice age. The idea was mind-blowing.
It's so tantalizing. All human beings are interesting. And I think these human beings are particularly interesting because they can tell us something very fascinating and very rich about our past, the past of all humans.
Erica now needed new DNA samples to test her findings. Working with Indian scientists, she decided to visit the tribes herself and collect DNA. But what does the new DNA reveal about the origins of the Andaman Islanders and how they fit into the story of human evolution?
Our conclusions on the Andamanese, we can say that they challenge some of the views of a straight out of Africa migration of people in the last 100,000 years, because they support perhaps the view that there's a very ancient component of people who, in Asia, that survived to modern time.
The new DNA seems to confirm that evidence of earlier humans has been preserved to the present day in the genes of the Andaman Islanders, just because they have been isolated from other people for such a long time.